In this mode, we will look at how you can use your notes to better organize your critical analysis of literature. We'll look at three things: critical appraisal basics, using a mind map, and using a literature review matrix. It's probably good to remind ourselves that the word critical comes from the Greek word kritikos, which means discerning, not hostile. And the point of a review is not so much to bash your opponent as to give us a balanced view of what you have found and how you understood the material. There are four things to consider when you're creating a critical appraisal. First of all, you need to identify the main argument and the terms and relevance to your research question of the material that you're reading. Secondly, to analyze or break down the article into meaningful sections and terms with which you can work and manipulate. Then you need to evaluate both the parts of the article and the article as a whole, depending on the context. And finally, you need to formulate a synthesis of your observations. The first and the second step can be done quite easily. You're simply asking analytical questions, and here is a list of the most common ones that could be a good foundation for your breaking down of your readings. But as you put together your critical analysis of literature, it's good to decide what kind of analysis this is going to be. Are you going to closely read and analyze an article of importance? Are you going to be comparing related studies? Or are you going to be gathering a larger body of notes for a review of literature? In a standard review of literature, you'll probably do all three things, depending on the context and the kind of work that you're dealing with. Let us start with a close reading of an article. Most scientific articles consist of 5 parts: introduction or background, statement of aims, description of method, and then results and discussion of the result's significance. As a first step of analysis, we identify and describe these components. Much of this is done on the fly, but you can use a mind map like this one to focus on specific aspects of the article that will be important. If you're comparing 2 or 3 articles, mind maps let you focus on the parts that are parallel or comparable. You can focus just on different theoretical backgrounds or closely compare methodologies. But mind maps become clumsy when you're dealing with a number of articles. One of the tools that can help you handle much more information is literature review matrix. A matrix is simply a table that serves as a background for detailed analysis of material. Rather than focusing on the structure of the article, as in a mind map, we will now look at themes of interest for our research. First, I analyze a research question and identify themes. These will become columns in my table. My research question: does transition to university contribute to higher levels of obesity among overweight students? What I'm going to do is to break this question down into several themes I can think of right now. They'll probably change as I go, but it's a good start for the table. First theme, prevalence of overweight and obesity. Second theme, changes in prevalence between high school and university. Stress, another theme. Diet and transition, another theme. Any sort of explanations of causal relationship, and perhaps weight loss as an item. And this is what it looks like when we create a matrix. First, we have bibliographical information: author, date, title. Then, a brief summary of aims is good. This is followed by our thematic columns: prevalence, changes, stress, diet, causality, weight loss. Finally, I add a few comments about the article as such. As you start populating your matrix with information, you will begin to see patterns in your material. For instance, you will see which articles address the role of diet and how. Eventually, you may end up changing your thematic columns to reflect a better understanding of the subject. The rest is entirely up to you. The matrix is a great analytical tool, but a great matrix does not automatically translate to great writing. Once you gather enough material on a subject, you may use a mind map once more to organize your thoughts about a theme. In this case, we have 3 sources discussing the role of diet. Smith shows that maintaining balanced diet reduces risk of overweight in first year. Kroger shows that first-year students experiment with diet and lifestyle, and quality of their diet generally decreases. And Wong shows that students from lower socioeconomic background have fewer problems with overeating and unbalanced diet in first year of university. Now you can decide to just write this down, but it will be more like a laundry list than a literature review. What you should be asking yourself now is what exactly this information says about diet and what is it that you want to include in your review. Perhaps you could ask you these questions. Is this enough information to make an observation? What am I going to say, or what am I wanting to say? And finally, how will I arrange this information to make my point? Once you begin to do this, you are engaging in synthesis of material, which is an essential component not just in a literature review, but in any written expression of critical analysis. So remember, first, critical means discerning, not hostile. Second, find a good way to analyze your material. And third, do not forget to write your observations as a synthesis, not just as a list. Best of luck!